1 year of GST. Well, who would have thought that it's been a year already since all that hype and drama around how GST is going to be absorbed, what's going to happen to earnings, demand on ground, the teething troubles, seems like they're far behind us.
Well, the teething troubles are far behind us, but you can argue about the data and which way the growth is. If you frankly take out the total GST number will look great, but if you frankly take out all the refunds which have to be generated, I don't think they've really managed to come up with a foolproof mechanism which would impress them and which would indicate that all the GST which is getting collected, large part of that is getting retained back by the government. So let me put it this way, the idea of getting GST was very simple. You wanted to save tax kachori. So you've made a GST as a unified platform, but there is an e-way bill which has been implemented, and then there are these tax collections or claims which have been going back because of GST, supply chain mechanism. There, I guess you may imagine that best practices have not been followed and they need to come out with something else. And looking at the political pressures, I don't think they would be able to come out with some more changes in the GST supply chain before May 2019. So the collection will make you feel happy, the headline part, but the fine print is not convincing enough to tell you that the tax reform, the objective of the tax reform was to boost government revenue. That really has been achieved.
Yeah, indeed. Although it has to be said that over the weekend there was a mammoth press conference which was held by the government, and as we're celebrating 1 year of GST, Prime Minister Modi and Minister Jaitley led the defense for this massive tax reform. They've called the criticism over tax rates misleading, although former Finance Minister P. Chidambaram has upped his ante. He's called it a flawed tax model. But Interim Finance Minister Piyush Goyal had some very interesting comments to make, and he's hinted that GST could see fewer slabs once the tax collection stabilize. And he said that he's working on a single return under GST for smaller traders, and the GST exemption threshold could be raised to about 1.5 crore rupees turnover. So very interesting a setup, but let's take it across to our researchers and get you a 360-degree perspective on how the year gone by has been for GST as GST turns 1. Vivek, to you first. Seems like there are more sectors which are going to be coming under the GST tax net.
Well, that's right, and this is going to be very, very interesting. Some of these sectors, a lot of them have a lot of listed companies, and any kind of movements here will actually cheer the stock markets. Amongst the first, is going to be the fact that even though yesterday they mentioned very clearly that petroleum products will be kept out of the GST ambit at this point of time, natural gas is something that most of the finance ministers and in fact all of the ministries have actually said that in the next GST council meet they will most likely be bringing natural gas and also aviation turbine fuel under the GST ambit. Now look, when natural gas comes into the GST ambit, look out for names like Indraprastha Gas Limited, even Mahanagar Gas Limited, and of course aviation turbine fuels. You'll have all of the aviation companies including Jet Airways and Indigo that will definitely benefit from this particular move. Other than that, the one very big sector in India, it contributes almost 60% of the workforce. That is going to be the construction, and the building construction in particular is going to be something that they're looking to actually cut the slabs from. So at this point of time, all of the construction material, including paints, including building material like cement, and even a lot of the other material that goes into into construction are right now currently priced at the highest tax bracket of 28%. So if what some of the reports are suggesting is that in the next meeting or the next couple of meetings, they'll most likely bring this particular slab to the 18% slab, and this will be a very, very big boost to the arm for most of the cement companies. Watch out for all of the big names. Most of them are organized players. Also paint companies, Asian Paints, Kansai Nerolac, all of them will actually benefit from this particular move because the tax outgo is something that actually reduces, increasing their bottom line further. This has been, there's been a very big clamor in the construction industry, given the fact that there has been a construction slowdown, at least on the private and residential side. So this will be a very big, boost in the arm, given the fact that even input prices and margins are something that they're grappling with.
Okay, take it across to Poonam, then find out what really is the reality on ground. Poonam, tell us about what the collections trend has been versus the erstwhile shortfall. And can one say that looking at the year gone by, GST collections have been a success?
Well, not so much, to be very honest, because if you look at the average monthly collections, we're seeing the average monthly collections anywhere between 88,000 odd crore to 95 to 98,000 odd crore. And in fact, for the recent month of June and July as well, we're seeing the collections somewhere around 95,000 to 96,000 odd crore. It was just in the month of March, wherein we did see the collections at over 1 lakh crore odd. And hence, it's very crucial that we do see the monthly collections picking up to anywhere between 1 to 1.10 lakh crore in order to meet the entire revenue targets there. In fact, the financial stability report also mentioned that there is risk to the fiscal slippage or fiscal consolidation path if at all we do not see a good amount of workup in terms of the overall revenue collections. Not just that, the financial stability report also mentioned in terms of that maybe government would have to curb spending to meet the fiscal target. In fact, we are seeing good amount of revenue shortfall coming in from few of the states like Daman and Diu, Dadra and Nagar Haveli, Puducherry, Himachal Pradesh, Uttarakhand as well as Bihar. What really needs to be found out is what next would the government be doing in order to boost the overall GST collections. I guess that is crucial. Some of the things that are pending is of course the addition of the petroleum products to GST. Real estate bill is still out of the entire ambit. New return filing norms are still to be there. Reverse charge mechanism is still slightly in the limbo, and of course we are seeing that invoice matching is slightly on hold. So a lot of still measures that government probably would have to take, and we will have to see how the government goes about and meets their revenue targets. But as of now, it's very important that we do see the GST collections to be anywhere between in the range of 1 to 1.10 lakh crore to meet our fiscal target there. So as of now, I guess we still have to wait and watch out for the perfect GST. I guess it's in the making. It may take a few more months to a year.
Okay. And Mubina, aside of that, you know, the benefit for corporate ink, how real has been the shift from the unorganized to the organized sectors?
You know, one of the key objectives and aims of GST was formalization of the economy, bringing more people under the tax net. So we are here to assess exactly how much has that happened, to what extent rather, and which pockets has seen the maximum shift towards the organized sector. Now, we've tried to list out all those sectors that do have a large extent of the market in favor of the unorganized segment. Jewelry, 75% being unorganized, but here is where we have witnessed a significant shift. We have had players like Titan, at times even PC Jewelers and you know, TBZ. When they've come on the channel earlier, they have spoken about the fact that yes, footfalls in their stores have increased, which clearly indicates that things seem to be on the positive. Plastic products as well. Now, when I say plastic products, I'm talking about companies like a Neel Kamal, I'm talking about Supreme Industries, I'm even talking about plastic pipes, etc. They had a 40% unorganized segment, not such a large extent, but nevertheless, we have witnessed, especially in the second half of the fiscal 18, that is the, you know, Q3 and Q4, we have witnessed higher growth for these plastic companies coming by. So these guys as well have been able to, you know, benefit. Then other segments, batteries, textile, 90% of textile is in the unorganized segment. Ice cream as well. There's been a significant sign of the shift being witnessed, and you know, this is based on our own management interactions. We have heard Everready talk about the shift. We have heard, you know, various textile makers, though of course, mind you, in the beginning of the GST era, there was a lot of protests, especially in Gujarat and Surat, but nevertheless, the organized players have definitely, you know, increased, and the unorganized guys as well have amped up their game when it comes to textile players. And ice cream too, you know, it was anyway a very small market, but that has further deteriorated. However, where is there a status quo? Where has there not been a much, you know, a significant shift from the unorganized to the organized? Fans, lighting, apparel, here as well as a decent chunk that is in the unorganized segment. Footwear as well, 80%. And interestingly, milk and curd, we spoke in fact to two players, Prabhat Dairy as well as Hatsun Agro, and they said that there's not as much of a shift given the fact that milk and curd, firstly, the GST rates are very low and necessity items, so naturally you are going to see compliance as well come by. But finally, where is it where there has actually been no significant formalization, and to an extent the unorganized guys have actually gained in plywood, because do remember that it was not until the e-way bill implementation that, you know, Century, etc. started gaining. Up until then, we have seen the unorganized guys in these markets actually gain. This is what we have heard, Century, Ply, etc. stay. However, with the e-way bill coming in, we could expect some gains to further amplify in FY19.
Okay, Mubina, we'll leave it at that. In fact, thank Poonam as well as Vivek too for really giving us a 360-degree perspective on how big a success that GST has been as it turns one.